approach. So basically, for all the 3 classes, I try to approach differently in the teaching. So the main thing is about appreciating Mr. Wee's work, and I try to show them the work in 3 different ways, through 3 different means. So basically, it's to see how they will actually perceive the work. So for the first lesson, I got them to look at the artwork from a print which I made. It's made of about 5 or 6 pieces of A3 papers. So I got the students to stand close to the work and look at it themselves, and I remind them of the art elements that they have learned and ask them to relate, those art elements to the work that they are seeing. And then I also ask them to write some description about it. And then eventually they go back to the seat and then they try to recreate the work. For the second class, they got to see the image from the slideshow. And I did do some zooming, but that is only for the purpose of seeing it clearly. It's basically more about maybe a little bit more open discussion. And then they exchange a little bit of ideas, whether they like it or not. And then I actually also introduce the artist. I talk about who's the artist, and I start to introduce the painting, what it is about. Listening to the description, I ask them again how they actually perceive the work now. So there's a before and after. So before they know what the work is about, whether they like it or not, and later on when they know what the work is about, does it affect the way they perceive the work? And then eventually I got them to recreate the work. Okay. So I actually observe a difference between the first class and the second class when they approach the painting. The second class, some of them were actually responding to the story which I told them. Whereas the first class, they haven't heard the story, so they were actually reacting to what's in their, they were actually reflecting what was in their mind. So I find that this is quite interesting. Okay, and then the third class was the approach was the most minimal. So I actually got them to see the slideshow, which contains of a lot of zooming in and zooming out. It's kind of atmospheric for some of them. Some of them say it's kind of scary. But I think it's most challenging for the last class because they find it a bit difficult, during such a short period of time. I want them to remember what they see and then to recall what they have in their mind, and then to kind of depict that on a piece of paper. And many of them find very intimidating, but eventually I find that a lot of books are actually quite interesting because it seems to, I find quite a few of them actually responding to a particular part of the painting. And then that part is probably it has got something to do with this person's own preferences, so they tend to remember certain things. Like some of the students were very into spirals, and then some actually saw deserts, and then some were actually creating something very atmospheric, like there's fire and people and so on. So I feel that it's very, very interesting, but I cannot really analyze what's the different, the kind of reason or rationale behind the differences yet, but I think there are differences.